Seas care. When Seas and Visit Sheboygan are hosting this evening. And Seas, yes, we teach people how to boat, and that's, one of the primary things we do. But we're also very interested in our maritime heritage. This community has a very strong maritime heritage. We used to build boats, we used to be a major shipping center, and of course, I'm interested in sailboats. We need to, it's interesting to see what the old sailboats look like and how they applied our inland seas and transported our goods. And it's a very exciting story. But I also think that, I think as Mike said, this can be very important to the community as an economic driver. I will tell you that a decade ago, any of you could have come to me and said, in the next decade, Sheboygan is going to be internationally known as a world-class holder of regattas. And a bunch of you don't know what regattas are, maybe, but anyway, we have world-class racing here, and we are known internationally. And, it's a crazy thing. If you're not involved in the sailing world, you don't know how significant that is, but it's huge. It's really huge. And so many things can change significantly over the period of a decade. And things that people never really ever would guess, that they could be in addition to the community. We have this awesome waterfront. We have one of the most beautiful waterfronts anywhere. Just really bottom line. It's gorgeous. And we're so lucky to have this resource. So, Visit Sheboygan is very much for this project, and Seas is. So I'm going to take this microphone and go around and take questions. And we're going to start here because that was the first hand.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to ask a question. And a lot of great comments. I've got a lot of questions, as other people might, but obviously there's not enough time here to answer all the questions. So my first question is, if some of us have some questions that don't get answered here this evening because of time, how can we get the contact information of the people on the panel if we want to ask for more data?
That's a great question. I have a big stack of business cards here, and I'd be happy to talk to you anytime or present at a credit group. Sure.
Does everybody else have?
Oh, I imagine they do. I'm in Sheboygan actually, so I'm here. I can be available anytime. Yep. I want to mention too that the director of the Northeast and Great Lakes region, Reed Boney, is with us tonight. Thanks for being here, Reed. Answer all the questions that I cannot. So.
Okay, thank you. I want to thank the committee listeners for letting us have this meeting here this evening. I want to make two very brief statements and then a couple of questions. There are two common sense statements that I would like to state. One, there are two sides to every story. Very important. Any community, any major decision, two sides. Second, haste makes waste. Now tonight, 2006, there were those who were involved in this issue. 2014, 3 years ago, that a number of legislators, including the governor, come behind this effort. But I suspect there are many in this room, probably upwards of 98%, I'm going to throw you a percentage, in the state of Wisconsin, who like me knew nothing about this until it filed for me 6 months ago. Peace makes waste. Now, when we come to the questions, for me, and I know for some people I talk with, some of us have been to Alpena Michigan. Some of us have talked to the people there. Deltina did a referendum. I believe the number was 1,700 opposed the sanctuary coming in. 700 roughly supported it. Before the referendum, NOAA said they would abide by the referendum. They never did that. Second point, the Samoa sanctuary. There is now a legal lawsuit because NOAA made a commitment it would not harm in any way the fishing rights of that community. The lawsuit is coming because they are charging NOAA with significant violations of those fishing rights. So when I say there are two sides to every story, I can tell you there are. It's very important for any community, mayor included, who leads this community, to make sure that you've seen and heard and really looked into the two sides. I don't think, in my opinion, that has happened here. I'm not opposed to the sanctuary, but I am opposed to any procedures that are taken that do not honor the will of the people. Number two, that are not carrying out the promises of any organization that is driving the issue. So I don't know what you want to say with the comments I'm making, but those are my concerns.
So thank you for that. And I wanted to say also that many of the concerns that we've heard, you mentioned the timeline, being made aware of this in the past couple of months. So many of the comments that we've heard, I think that I've heard, also are in the public record for during the comment period. So many did get in there, and not all, I say. So one way to see that is online. The comments are there. They're still available online. So there's a way to get through there and see what the comments were, what the concerns were as well. I think for the referendum question, and that was before my time. So Reed may be able to speak to that. I think that referendum, again, I think I'll let Steve speak to it. I know that ultimately the state of Michigan and NOAA came to an arrangement that I think reflected many of the concerns that were in that referendum, and that the MOU that evolved from that was actually was very detailed in addressing, I think, many of the concerns that probably were in the community at that time. That doesn't solve the question about how do you deal with the community's referendum, which is a good one. But I think that's what I know about the referendum. Steve, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, my memory is pretty sketchy on it, but we do have the MOBs, which, you know, as I was concerned, was that divers could always dive direct. So there has been no problem with that. You know, we'd never be charged a fee. And I don't know where this fishing thing is that you're talking about. I've not heard anything. You said something's coming down, but one of the MOBs in there was that NOAA really has no regulation on the fishing. That's all state. There's a federal fishing science group there next door to NOAA, but I don't think they have anything to do but research there. So I haven't heard anything about what you're talking about. I certainly we have a fishing delegate on our advisory council. Nothing that person has ever brought up. So I don't know of any kind of thing like that. Unless you can shed some light on that. You say it's coming, but I don't know of any kind of violations. Because we just don't do anything with fishing. You know, I mean, it's only about wrecks, so I don't know how you would get that.
So we do, the person sort of working on this also full-time is Ellen Brody. And Ellen was there for that period of time in Alpena. So I'd like to, if you'd like, get you connected with Ellen to help answer some of those questions. And she was there through the whole period, Steve knows her well, to talk a little bit about that. The bigger question, clearly, that you're asking is, do we carry out the promises we make? Can we carry out those promises? How do we do that? A really important point, I think, is the Sanctuary Advisory Council. So is that we're moving through managing a national marine sanctuary, that the community is there throughout. I can speak mostly about, and really only about, Thunder Bay. And I think beyond the referendum period, I don't believe there's been a really contentious issue in the city over 17 years. So if there had been, it was worked out, but I think it's evolved pretty nicely, the referendum issue notwithstanding. Thank you.
I just wanted to make a distinction between what you might see in a marine system and in the Great Lakes. In the Great Lakes, the state has jurisdiction to the state line or the international line, depending on which body of water. Lake Michigan happens to be entirely within the United States, so the state of Wisconsin has jurisdiction to the state line all the way around, whereas in the marine system, the state or territory only has a defined, a narrowly defined jurisdiction. And that may be where some of the conflict could arise, like in American Samoa. But the state has direct jurisdiction all the way to the state line or the international line.
No, I was just going to mention two things. First, I won't go into fishery law issues, but I know a lot about the American Samoa issue that you're raising, so I'm happy to talk with you afterwards. It actually doesn't have anything to do with the sanctuary whatsoever. It has to do with the fishery management council and the state water rights, but it's nothing to do actually with the sanctuary, and I'm happy to walk